We begin with a verdict that has shaken this community. Darren Thrailkill has been found guilty in the murder of a 6-year-old child. For everyone watching in Western Colorado who is going to be impacted by this government shutdown, what actions can they expect from you this week? Tributes continuing to pour in for Colorado State Senator Faith Winter after state leaders confirmed she died in a multi-vehicle crash the night before Thanksgiving. Some of the big questions are who enabled Epstein, who benefited, and will justice ever fully arrive? So with the release of these files coming, what do Epstein's victims now need from lawmakers? They passed this. They say we're going to be getting these files within 30 days. What do the victims need now? But I do have to say, on that July 14th episode of The Late Show, where Colbert condemned Paramount for settling the lawsuit, he specifically called, which you said, a big fat bribe. If I were to come on TV and trash talk the company that signs my check, I would expect to likely lose my job. So even if his comments, did lead to the show's cancellation, even if it was the straw on the camel's back, why do you believe Colbert should be able to keep his job when the average person in America likely wouldn't be able to after trashing their company? This column that you wrote in The Hollywood Reporter is captivating. I was hooked, every single word in it. I want to read a part of the article. You wrote it from your experience with Diddy. You said, I took his calls at 1 a.m., traveled on his private jets, and drafted statements that bore his name but never his truths. What was the biggest spin you put on Diddy's behalf? The White House recently used a British airline ad to mock deportation. Do you think that the Trump administration's tone on the border is always appropriate? New developments in that late-night train derailment into the Gunnison River that happened late Monday night. KREX News' Kyle Kawamoto is on the story with what rescuers encountered and how the crew members are doing this morning. Kirk was a founder of Turning Point USA, a group that's been key in mobilizing young Republicans. Even Democrats have recognized his prowess, with California Governor Gavin Newsom hosting him on his podcast earlier this year. Today, I'm joined by members of Colorado Mesa University's Turning Point USA chapter, Jason Bias and James Ruman, to discuss the impact Kirk had on them in reaction to his death by an assassin's bullet. As someone who lost their dad, and I felt like I had a super dad, and I think you do too, I so appreciate and respect the gratitude that you display for your father in this book. Will you tell us about your father and how he helped you in your journey with autism? But a lot of people who don't understand the scientific terminology, who aren't, very deep into this story, but they're maybe seeing headlines, seeing that you're telling people to take a vacation before October 29th, that gives end of the world signals, doesn't it? Do you think that that's, a little much?
No, what I'm saying is it could be a potential threat of a type that we've never imagined.
It could be a threat, but you think it could be a potential apocalyptic event?
Yeah, when you go on a blind date, you never know whether on the other side there is a serial
Yeah, but when you go on a blind date, you're not thinking the world's going to end.
Well,
so 27 seasons in, what insights have you gained about human nature and relationships?
Here it comes from Grand Junction, Colorado. Television's most exciting 2 hours. It's Wake Up Western Slope with Justin Brown and Dalen Brazelton. Come on down!
And that was the voice of George Gray, the announcer for The Price is Right. How was that, Justin? What
How cool is it that he did that for us on the show? We're having an interview coming up with him later in the show where he's going to tell us all about the thrills, chills, and prizes coming up on a special Halloween week on The Price is Right. I think it's time we start embracing fights with loved ones during the holidays. Look, it's going to happen anyway. We might as well lean into it. You heard me. Gobble, gobble, and glove up, people. Buckle up, Western Slope, because today on the Hot List, we're doing something a little different. But what's your response to people who may feel like an investment in amenities is a distraction from basic needs while people can't afford their rent?
Oh, man, I love this question.
Ooh, yeah.
That's spot on.